Hello, Water Walkers. So, in 2026, Deborah and I are reading more, and we are really enjoying the books that we're reading.
That's exactly right. Even if it's taken us a long time to read the books. So, I went on a trip last week for work. I was gone for 5 days, 5 full days, and had a very long plane ride out to California. That was a good 6 hours of travel there and back each time. So, I borrowed a book for pleasure from a friend of ours and was, traveling there and back. And maybe an hour or so after, on Saturday after I was back, I completed the book and then watched the movie that is from the book and totally enjoyed it. Why did I read that book so quickly? Well, because I was intentional about, I had nothing else to do except read. And that was just a fiction book and for pleasure and mindless reading, mindless,
Hmm.
and I don't have to really process anything. When I read a spiritual growth book, I can't read it that quickly because I read and I process. So I might not read every single day because
Hmm.
I can't take it all in. I need to
Yeah.
think and process it and then apply it, maybe.
Yeah.
So anyway, I am still reading this book, relaxed. And so last week I talked to you about leaning on God and leaning into God instead of trying to do things on our own strength, in our own
Hmm.
strength. And so one of the things that I underlined after that was that, you know, anyone that has any self awareness knows that we participate in that process of growth,
Hmm.
but God makes things grow. We don't make things grow.
Right.
And then this really steps on my toes. So when we are having good behavior done in our own strength, like if we're behaving Christ like and we think it's and we're really being in our own strength and we're really doing things because, you know, we think that we need to look good or whatever, that is counterfeit to faith. When
Hmm.
we're not relying on him and leaning on him for our actions, then we're being
Mm.
counterfeit.
Yeah.
That kind of stepped on my toes.
Yeah.
I have to process that.
Yes.
I have to think about that, think about
Yes.
myself and reflect. So anyway, that's why it takes me a long time to read any kind type of Christian growth type book. So I can breeze through the others. And one other thing, I cannot read a book for enjoyment like that,
Hmm.
um, usually during the school year, because going back to what we talked about this week about spiritual disciplines and me getting up early so that I can read my Bible and
Mm.
spend time with God. If I get caught up in a book, I want to keep reading and keep reading and reading in the evenings, and I stay up too late, and then I can't get up early,
Yes.
and then I'm exhausted and I don't work well, and so I usually during the school year when I'm working, I do not get to read for pleasure, long amounts of time. So anyway,
Yes. Makes sense.
it was like a little treat to be able
Yes.
to read last week. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I'm glad you got to.
So I've borrowed some other books from that same person, and I did start one, but I haven't. I'm trying to like restrain myself from reading it
Maybe,
right now.
maybe this weekend.
Maybe the weekend I can. So now
Let's
let's go
go walk
walk on
on
water.
water.